All right, and welcome back to the Tuesday night NFL football show, Chalk Talk. Be bringing my co-host on here in just a few minutes. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Coming out on a wonderful Tuesday night. I'm sure most of you are either off work or getting a few days off of work here soon. So welcome to the show. Bring my co-host on. All right, and welcome to Chalk Talk, your favorite Tuesday night show where we have more wins than the Detroit Lions do. So I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight on Tuesday on this wonderful Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, too. Way to bring the energy, too. I like
it. Always got to have the energy. Always got to have the energy. Right. Especially after this weekend of NFL football, needless to say, some of the tops go down. Man, that was crazy week.
Yeah, that's putting it. This is the third straight week in a row. If you're an underdog bettor, you're probably doing very well with the NFL this year. That's for sure.
I posted the other day. I was like, listen, if you want to win some money, bet the opposite team that I pick. Holy moly!
Or just listen to what the experts are saying about how this team is catapulted to number one, and then they play a completely irrelevant team. Bet on that completely irrelevant team, and you're going to win.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Titans, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Packers. Almost all your top teams go down this weekend.
Buccaneers won, yeah.
Let's talk about that Texans and Titans game. No other way to say it. Again, the Titans played down to their competition. Almost like, and this was this not a home game, if I'm not mistaken, for the Titans?
Yep. Yeah, they were playing in Tennessee.
Like, literally, did they? It's like, I don't even know if they got off the bus, or if they even got out of the, if they literally got out of the locker room, because they looked dry, they looked flat, and it wasn't until the late third quarter that Tannehill even gets a touchdown pass.
Yeah, they were losing 19-0 before, 16-0 before they even scored a point, and by then there was nothing else happening. Yeah, listen, this Tennessee team is in trouble, and we knew its identity all along. And I've said this since the beginning with this team, since we started seeing this team put it together, that all roads lead through Derrick Henry. And this game is all about what Tennessee couldn't do more than it is what the Texans did do. Because on the stat sheet, Tennessee won every category except for the turnovers.
Yep.
But this is really about what the Titans are just not able to do. And if you look the first 8 games of the season with Derrick Henry, this team is averaging over 28 points a game. 377 yards, 147 of which are rushing yards, just a little over 1 turnover per game, and averaging over 34 minutes in time of possession. That's really good for an offense. Get you to 6-2, best in the league at that point. Yep. Besides Arizona, best in the AFC, sorry. So you come to these last 3 weeks without Derrick Henry, and this offense only putting up 19 points a game, and they're only rushing 79 yards per game, and then their time of possession is dropped off by 4 minutes. So the question for me all along has been, what is Tannehill capable of doing? And in 3 games, he's thrown 6 he's contributed to 6 turnovers. I think he's had 5 interceptions in the 3 games, and he just looked terrible. Yeah. And I know JJ, I know Julio Jones went down, but they've been battling injuries on the wide receiver core all year, and for Derrick Henry to not be replaced, that's just not good. And fortunately for this team, they've already played the Colts twice, beat them both times. With 6 games left, they have a better record. They have a little easier schedule, I think, than the Colts do down the stretch. So, if they can pull off 3 of these 6 wins against teams they definitely can beat, they can still win that division. But it's not as easy as it was 3 weeks ago.
I think the Titans face their toughest or what they have left in games. This weekend is the Patriots. I think that's the toughest game that they have remaining left on their schedule. The sad, or I don't want to say the sad part, the funny or a weird stat right now is that Derrick Henry, even though out of commission, is still leading the league in rushing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so what I don't know what that says about other teams, but I just, like I said, I don't even know if they even I don't want to say they overlooked the Texans. I don't want to say that because, I mean, obviously their mind was on the Patriots. Patriots just took over the division lead, which I don't think any of – well,
yeah,
I don't think we picked the Patriots to be in that division lead at all because we both picked the Bills. But I don't want to say they overlooked them, but I it's cliche as it sounds, I think they did. I honestly think they thought they were going to go in and handle business with they were just going to, even with AD. I mean, I get it. AD. I mean, Peterson still. I mean, he's what 20 or not 20 years, damn near 20 years in the league. And he's not going to be your feature. I mean, you can't run him like you can run Derrick Henry. You just can't. And that was evident in the game. And when you can't run when the Titans can't run the ball, they can't. And we talked about this again all season long. If you can't run that ball, you can't open up your pass. And I mean, and that's how he has. That's the reason he has 5 interceptions up to this point because he's forcing that. He's trying to force that deep ball to get those big plays, and it's ridiculous. But flat. I mean,
and also I was just going to say, and also the defenses aren't scared of the run now. So, when they put 7 guys in the box, they're going after the quarterback. They're not stopping the run. And if Tannehill doesn't find his hot route or his second progression is not open, he's either stuffing it, getting sacked, or it's a bad throw. So his options are becoming more and more limited. It's all about what they can do moving forward. Breaking news I just saw a couple hours ago, the Titans cut Adrian Peterson and signed Golden Tate, wide receiver, to the practice squad. So to me, that's an indication that they're rolling with Tannehill in the passing game over the running game. And I don't know. I'm not excited about the Tennessee team anymore. But then you look at Tyrod Taylor, and I think it's definitely possible that they might have overlooked this team. Everybody's been overlooking these teams, and Tennessee did dominate the stat sheet, or they did, they overperformed in the stat sheet compared to Houston. But Tyrod Taylor he didn't have a spectacular day. His decision-making at the absolute right moment, I think, was critical. And I just think that kept the balance of power on the Houston side, making smart throw here and there. He had the 2 touchdown runs. And I just think it was an important moment that kind of kept, Tennessee from being able to grasp onto any rhythm. But, otherwise, they had over 400. Tennessee had over 400 total yards of offense. This game would have been, if Tennessee was playing a better football team, this game would have been a complete blowout. It would have been an absolute embarrassment.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if their focus is on that, I still think they need something to get the defenses to come up to that line. They've got to have at least a runner that can give them Yeah. 4 to 5 yards if they're going to rely on Tannehill.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not that I disrespect Tannehill, but his progression has never been the greatest when it goes for him to see his second and third receivers. It's never been that great. He's always his vision has always been downfield, and he already knows who he's going to throw to for the most part. I mean, but not what I expected out of the Titans. And then again, let's go. It's not what I expected out of the Bills either. And the Colts are a great team. This was probably one of the best matchups this week, and could have gone. And the Bills the Colts are fighting. They're fighting for everything that they have, even with a quarterback situation or whatever the case may be, whatever they want to call it. But not what I would have expected out of the Bills at home, and I believe that game was at home for the Bills. So,
home game. Just crappy weather, but it was a home game.
Colts are good. I'm not gonna lie, Colts are good. They want, and we said that we even talked about that at the beginning of the season when we started talking about that. We thought that the Colts would still vie and have a run at this division. I didn't expect them to be this good, but they look pretty. They're making the adjustments they need to at least try to make a deep playoff run if they can.
Yeah, for sure. This game was kind of hard for me to decipher whether or not Indianapolis is really this good or Buffalo is really this okay, because this was a complete dominating performance by Indianapolis. And that's even after Carson Wentz only threw for 106 yards. So, they did what Tennessee did several weeks ago and just ran the ball right down their throat. They had over 260 yards rushing against Buffalo. They held the ball for a full quarter over Buffalo.
50 minutes long.
And I keep bringing these things up, time of possession and rushing yards, because those things matter, because they always set up what a team's play action strengths are to be. And guys like Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, they need a solid run game to open up the passing lanes for them, because they're not super dynamic like Aaron Rodgers, like Drew Brees, like Patrick Mahomes, where they can single-handedly pick out a defense and know where they're going to go and know, it's like these guys can almost remember their routes and where everybody's going to go. And then they know their receivers to the point where their receivers can adjust and they know they're going to be there. Guys like Carson Wentz aren't like that. And they need a running game set up. And so, you look at the past like 9 games, and that's what Indianapolis has done. They've given the rock to Jonathan Taylor, and that dude, franchise day yesterday, franchise record. You think of the running backs that the Colts have had in their history, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk. These guys are all, great runners. And this guy, Jonathan Taylor, young kid, had 5 touchdowns. Excuse me. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry yesterday.
That's amazing.
That against the number 1 defense in the league. How do you do that? Well, you have a game plan, and then you have a want to win. So I don't know what the Bills were thinking, but before the Bills, you look at the first quarter of this matchup, which really set the tone for the entire game. That first Colts drive, goodness, that was an 11-play drive. It was 7 rushes and 4 passes. It was over 6 minutes. That resulted in a touchdown. The Bills' next drive, almost all passes. It was like 7 passes and 2 rushes. They had the ball for just under 5 minutes. But that ended up in an interception, and it was the first of his 2. So, this is the problem that I'm starting to have with Buffalo. I think I'm finally starting to see what they're doing. And they have 3 very talented running backs on that team. And Devin Singletary was a Pro Bowl running back a couple years ago. And, and then they went and got Moss, and Matt Bradys been doing pretty good in that spot, averaging high numbers. But they only rushed 9 times that game. I'm sorry, 13 rushes the whole game. 13 rushes. And they weren't being blown out right away. But once they went down 14-0, they completely abandoned the run. But they were down 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. So, you put the shoulder, you put everything on Josh Allen's shoulder. He's a fantastic quarterback. He's definitely shown it. He was in the running for MVP last year, but no balance. And everybody knows what you're going to do. And everybody knows they're going to be able to stop the run. And so that's Coach McDermott, and that's offensive coordinator David. Yeah. Those guys have got to get the running game involved.
Absolutely. And this is something what we talked about all year long is giving up your game plan, giving up. I mean, I get it if it was late in the third quarter, then you abandon the run, but you're abandoning the run. And I saw a couple teams do this all year long is abandon the run in the first and hell, even some after the first drive, they're abandoning because they didn't pick up 5 or 6 yards on a couple of rushes. Dallas has a problem doing that at times where they'll get stuffed on Zeke or Pollard will get stuffed a couple times and then they'll quit running for a while. You can't do that. If you're those runs and they're going to get there, you just got to be patient and let and
that's right.
And Buffalo just is like he didn't get like a 5-yard run and all of a sudden he's like, oh, now how are we going to keep up with him? Well, you can. It's still the freaking second quarter. You can still keep up with them. Yeah. Just be patient. Yeah,
This is one thing that's just been real interesting to me. This is just my own insight. For the fans, please let me know if you think I'm wrong. I absolutely could be, but from Eric Emery's perspective, as I've said many times, I see the league trying to go to this pass heavy. We're throwing for 600 yards. We're scoring 60 points a game, but it's not working. And what is working is the good old fashioned ground game. The setting, the using the run, getting 4 to 5 yards per carry, and then bringing the defenses in to tighten up the box. And then, then I'm Tom Brady and I go deep to Mike Evans, and every team in the league has the speedster that can outrun almost every other cornerback in the league. That's not a problem. But it's like teams are trying to go to that too much now. And it's not necessary. It's about winning the Super Bowl. But every team has its goals. You win the division first, go to the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. And, you're not going to get there by throwing 60 times a game. You're just not going to do it. Didn't Dak Prescott just throw for 60 times this weekend?
Yes,
I think it was 57, 60.
If they would have stuck with –
not even one touchdown.
Yeah. If you would have stuck with your game plan, I get it.
Yeah.
Zeke was hurt. But you got other people. You got Pollard, and you got other ways to run that ball, and you don't have to – yeah. And that's I think that's Kellen Moore's problem a little bit is he started to he's like Zeke's done. I don't have a workhorse to.
I've liked Pollard more than I've liked Zeke this year. It may not be happening, but I've just seen more energy and more production from Pollard than I have Zeke. So.
Dallas just lost its identity. And we're going to talk about the Chiefs defense here in a minute, but Dallas just lost their identity this game. And again, it falls on now. I'm gonna sit here and listen to everybody. Oh, the refs this, the refs. At the end of the day, I mean, we've talked about the refs. We know how they are, but at the end of the day, if you're hitting your receivers. This was all on Dak a little bit yesterday, Sunday. This was all on Dak a little bit. Yeah. I should say a lot. It looked like he reverted back to the Broncos Dak, where he was not throwing right, not throwing to the receivers, and then again Kellen Moore giving and going, oh crap. Think about it, and realistically, the defense did its job. They kept a really potent Kansas City offense
a really potent Kansas City offense to 19 points. If Dallas puts 3 of those drives together, they don't lose to Kansas City. If Dak is right where he needs to be with his throws, they don't lose to Kansas City. So the refs, at the end of the day, the refs still didn't really have an outcome on it. It was an offensive. So, and again, we're getting ready to talk about it. The Chiefs did their job on defense. If this was probably the best defensive scheme I've seen out of Kansas City this year. Not that they were like the best defense in the world, but they did really good.
Yeah, are we moving on to that segment, the Chiefs D? Yeah. I'm gonna, for me personally, Dak's my boy. I'm gonna go easy on him, and I'm gonna give all the credit to the Chiefs for the game plan. But listen, probably nobody's been harder on the Chiefs defense than I have this year. I mean, I've used the word terrible, ridiculous. I mean, just abominable. But I got some good news for the Chiefs fans out there. They have been doing some things, and they have paid off. So what have they been doing? Well, if you look at the first 5 weeks of the season, just a ridiculous team. They were giving up 32 points a game and over 437 yards per game. That was a 2-3 record, and I think all of us were like, yeah, they're done. Stick a fork in them. We'll see them next year. I think I might have even said that. Week 6, going into Washington, they started to make some adjustments. Since week 6 adjustments, so week 6 to 11, they're only giving up 14.5 points per game, and they've only been giving up just over 300 yards per game. It's good enough for a 5-1 record. So what have they been doing? Well, in week 6, Coach Spagnuolo and Coach Reed decided to go with youth and speed. Their longtime safety, Sorensen, is a great dude, one of the hearts of the defense, but he's aging. Yeah. They moved him out. They benched him in favor of their 2019 second-round pick, Juan Thornhill, and he ended up starting most of their snaps from here on out. And also, they moved their play caller, their linebacker Hutchins. They moved him out, but they had to replace him with 2 guys, Ben Neiman and then the rookie Nick Bolton. Well, in that game against Washington, Nick Bolton led the team in tackles, and Juan Thornhill's speed in the secondary prevented Heineke from making Heineke and the Washington team from making the big plays, those big chunk yards that have been gashing the Chiefs all year. And just in that 1 week, by going with more speed and athleticism over experience, it shortened the field for the defense to cover, and it literally removed a lot of plays. Now in that game, they held Washington to under 100 yards total rushing, and actually no points in the second half. So that's the first thing they did. Then we talked at the trade deadline of some key moves, and they did pick up one person that might have been pretty good, and that's defensive end Melvin Ingram from the Steelers. At the time, we were like, maybe that's good, maybe that's not. But what that did was, so their defensive tackle, Chris Jones, he's stud defensive lineman. Well, he had been playing on the edge. They were playing him on the edge. And that allowed really just one guy to take him on. And just all he had to do was move Chris Jones out. When they brought on Melvin Ingram, they then moved Chris Jones back into the interior where he's really good. And because he's so good, that has been forcing offensive linemen to take him on, 2 offensive linemen to take on one Chris Jones. That's opened it up for Frank Clark on the other end, and then Melvin Ingram, a little speedier out on the other end. And so what you've seen since that move has been made, now that they've clogged up the middle, that front 4 is getting significantly more pressure on the quarterback. Heck, Jones had 3.5 sacks against the Cowboys, 1 forced fumble, and he had the tip that led to the pick that pretty much sealed the game. He was the one who tipped it. So he just sucked the middle of that offensive line up. So you gotta you got to see there's subtle differences that they didn't bring on a Von Miller, and now they don't have these big, huge key players that are making millions of dollars. But what they did was they made subtle adjustments. That's what every NFL team does.
Oh, yeah.
There's the matchups and the adjustments within the game, and then there's the matchups and the adjustments within the season. And the Colts have slowly started to do that. But then, they've got Frank Clark, their defensive end that I just mentioned. He was also kind of injured. One of the reasons why he's been kind of struggling, they're saying, down there in Arrowhead, up there in Arrowhead. But he's back now, and he had like, I think he had 5 pressures.
Yeah, 5 pressures.
Maybe 4 pressures.
No, it's fine.
But I think right now the Chiefs lead the league in quarterback pressures now. And if your game plan on the offense is to go in and just throw the ball because their secondary is weak, well, you have to account for the pressure, and that's what's been the difference, is the pressure that the Chiefs have been getting on the quarterback. And I'm sure you watched a Cowboy game just like I did, and I was just astounded. I was shocked at how little time Dak Prescott had to throw that ball.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And like I said, I'm not taking away anything. That's why I've been trying to tell people that are sitting there saying it was all the refs. No, it was not. I mean, it boils down to just what you talked about. They're playing good defense. They're playing tight defense. And when we made our picks on this game, we were both were kind of leaning towards Kansas City when we wanted to make the picks. We just didn't know which offense was going to come out with Mahomes. And so, yeah, I agree. They put pressure on Dak. He was making bad decisions, at least from my eyeballs. And I'm going to be, I think for me being a Cowboy fan, I'm going to be a little bit harder on what I see. But again, they went away from the run. They were trying to force passes that weren't there. And we saw what happened when he forced a pass that basically sealed the deal for Kansas City to win that game. But yeah, I agree. The defense has stepped up, and they're just like one couple of plays away from just being a dominant defense now. I think with the changes that they've made up, I didn't think for one minute that they wouldn't win. Kansas City would not win the division. Yeah, we all probably were like, wow, this, because we were just in shock that they were not doing so great. I think we're just like, and we said, yeah, wow, they're done. I think they're done. But no, and that's what makes a good football team, a great football team. Just what you talked about, not only on field adjustments, but off field adjustments that they made. And they're one of the teams that are doing it. I can't say, and we've seen that. I think the Patriots did that. One of their first few Super Bowls that they won, Belichick went out and didn't go so much for big names as he went for people that can cover, people that can, and we talked about that too. I'd rather have 11 people that can tackle and make plays than 2 people that have big names and want $20 million. That's what I'd rather have on my defense. I want 11 people that are going to run to that ball, tackle every time, and not quit. And just because my name is so-and-so and so-and-so and I make $20 million, if my play didn't go the way I wanted, I'm just going to walk. I see that on certain teams. So, and that's what this is a team, and what have we talked about from the last couple of weeks is people need to make adjustments to make that deep run into the playoffs.
Yep.
And this is the Kansas City team that can do that with the adjustments that they made on defense. Everybody automatically assumed because Patrick Mahomes had 10 interceptions this year that, anybody they play is going to get an interception off. And that's not the case. Probably 7 or 6 or 7 of those interceptions were not Patrick Mahomes' fault.
Right. Yeah.
So don't take it in consideration. Now, I'll say this for any team that's playing other than probably obviously the Lions. 15-2 is tough. let alone going. Let's just say going undefeated in any season is tough, but going 15-2 in the NFL is tough. So there's going to be teams that lose.
Yeah.
So none of these, and then I'll say this to all the division leaders and the teams that are out there winning, your season's not over because you lost this weekend by any means. That goes for Green Bay, Titans. Your season's not over because winning every game, it's relatively easy in college because it's college. We got that. But in the pros, you're not going to go undefeated. And I mean, what was the Dolphins the last ones to go undefeated? So fully undefeated.
Only ones ever.
Yeah. So I think a lot of fans and a lot of sportscasters and things like that get wrapped around because you go on a 5-game win streak or a 6-game win streak that all of a sudden you're just going to win every game. No, I mean, even the Detroit Lions stuffed Pittsburgh. Now they tied it, but they stuffed a Pittsburgh team that was actually doing pretty decent there for a while. So,
right, they were on a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. I mean, I think that's what I want to see as a fan, period. Do I want the Cowboys to win and go on to Super Bowl? Absolutely. But it's like I've been talking about with another guy in some college stuff. I want to see different teams too. And because these different teams are there in the college now because of adjustments that they're making, because of coaching mindset.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing out of teams that we thought. Like, again, the Colts doing a great job, the Chiefs doing a great job. I mean, even to a point, as much as I hate to say it, the 49ers are starting to make some. Now, the 49ers have had a little bit of their weaker schedule last couple of weeks, but we'll see. We'll see for sure who the 49ers are.
Right.
Well, let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I'll let you start with the good.
So my good, the touchdown of the day goes to offensive lineman, New York Giants. I don't know all y'all out there that watched it, but this 315-pound tackle just leaped up in the air and got himself 6 fantasy points. Beautiful, beautiful play by this guy, full athleticism. 315 pounds is a lot to get 6 inches off the air, and then also get you a reach out to grab it and then pull it in, and as you fall down, maintain possessions. And as John, as we get ready for Turkey Day, and John Madden used to say, a big man touchdown leads to a big man celebration. Yes. And doing that old chicken dance right there in the end zone with the rest of the old linemen, they planned that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They talked about that in the locker room, but we're getting ready for the turducken celebration on Thanksgiving. So I thought that might be good to see the chicken dance, but good on that offensive lineman for getting that leap and catch. That was good.
Pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. My good goes to Minnesota. Skol to the Vikings. Not that they I mean, they gave up some points and that, but they finally went in with a lead and held on and won the game. Something that they have been lacking.
And held on, that's right.
Something that they've been lacking almost the entire season. They've been in every game that they played. They just couldn't hold. I mean, if this team could have held that, we're looking at a total different run up there in the North.
Yeah.
And even with this win, that gets them a little bit closer to the Green Bay Packers. But good on them. And to actually, hold on and guy, I can't believe Kirk Cousins actually looked comfortable and not ready to give the game away, I guess is what I want to say. But good on the team to hold that lead and then play through the tie and play through the game there and take it down and drive and get a nice win with that last second field goal against the Packers. So that's my good. What's your bad?
Yeah, God bless you all Viking fans, man. That team is just a heart. They're just a heart attack waiting to happen. Every week they make it hard on themselves and the fans. And good for them. They came out and they got this one against obviously the number one team in the division. So.
Yep. Yeah, that was
Okay. The bad, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we got Thanksgiving coming up. We got 3 games, 6 teams. I don't know if it's going to be exciting or not. This is the bad. All 6 teams that are playing on Thursday night, they all lost this weekend. And they all lost bad except for one team, the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions put up a fight against Cleveland Browns, made it competitive, even with the new quarterback. By the way, hats off to you calling the when are they going to bench Jared Goff. They replaced him with Boyle, who didn't do better, but the game was tough. So, I like what I'm seeing out of Detroit. They're playing with a lot of heart. And my pick ahead of time, in case you're going to go with it, I'm taking the Lions to win that game, by the way. I'm just saying. Right
we it's on the docket. So,
but that's my bad.
No, my bad. Yeah, you're right. I mean, every team that's playing just did not look good, except you are absolutely correct, the Lions. And if it's not for just the Cleveland having a really good drive there at the end, that the Lions could have had their first win. And so kudos to the Lions. My bad, God, is Nagy. I mean, and I could probably go over into the ugly with this. You have the lead. You have the lead over the Ravens, and I do not know what your defense was running great for 58 minutes. Your defense played great for 58 minutes. The last 2 minutes, you gave up that, and I don't know what I mean, I can't say it's all Nagy's fault, but we all know that it falls on the coach for the most part.
Yeah.
And to stuff that defense for 58 minutes, or excuse me, that offense for 58 minutes. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson wasn't in there. I got that. I totally understand that. But ladies and gentlemen, fans, spectators, this is why we play 60 minutes of football. You absolutely play every down, every second, every minute you play because of what just happened in the Chicago Bears-Ravens game. That's my bad. I just
Yeah, I heard I think it was Mike Florio say this morning that if the Lions do beat the Bears, he wouldn't be surprised if Nagy's out of the locker room the next, following Thanksgiving.
I'm already
to get the boot before Christmas. He wouldn't be surprised.
I'm already hearing rumor of Ryan Day from Ohio State. Now, whether that's true or not, I have heard.
Oh.
I've heard rumor in the rumor mill that they're talking to him. That wouldn't surprise me that Chicago would take Ryan Day. So, I mean, if they weren't, and they're talking $24 million, they're talking a big paycheck. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's bad. And but yeah, if they do beat the Bears, I wouldn't want to be Nagy, period. And we've been talking about him since the beginning of the season. We knew he was on the hot seat. So, all right, what you got for ugly?
I'll have more about him in a second. Yeah, so I just switched my ugly up at the last moment. I had some thoughts earlier on the playoff picture, but the more I think about it, this Daniel Jones' performance and the Giants' offense last night was just absolute. I have no statistics for you right now. I just watched it and I wanted to throw up. Who was he throwing to? Where were these balls? Why was he throwing into the dirt when he had a clear lane? Why did he throw to Saquon Barkley? Well, why did he throw to the defensive end who was laying on the grass instead of Saquon? His performance was terrible. And then the offensive play calling was just as bad. Why on 4th and 3 or 4, you do a rollout and you completely isolate one side of the field to get a first down? They did that like twice. And I've not been in the NFL. I don't pretend to be, X's and O's super duper expert like these guys have been in it 24/7. But even I know that when you're losing by 2 scores and you absolutely need a first down and your offense has already been struggling, you don't take away half of the field and completely cut out 2, 3, 4 pages of the playbook. It was just terrible. The good news for them, Jason Garrett is out as offensive coordinator. Finally, I know it's only been 2 years. Again, kudos to you. That's 2 kudos I got for you tonight. You called it. So hopefully this will be better for Daniel Jones, because that was just a terrible performance. And you could just see the Giant wide receivers when a ball would hit the turf. You just see their shoulders drop. They're like this, their effort was
they're defeated. Yeah.
Terrible.
So you and I are on the ugly. I mean, that was my ugly as well. Good.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, I don't even know where to. I'm not a Giants fan, and I feel bad for my Giant friend, my friends that are Giant fans. I literally feel bad for them. And like you said, hopefully that then, and I knew it. And we talked about Jason Garrett. How can, and I'm sitting there talking to myself about this, and I'm like, how do certain coaches just get second chances? What we saw how he ran with Dallas, and what on earth made the Giants go, oh, he's going to be great for us? So yes, I do hope.
Yeah, I know. Good point.
I do hope this turns the Giants around. Not that they beat my Cowboys, or not that they win the division, but I want them to turn around, because I want you nailed it. I mean, literally the receivers are just like, oh, it was that. I mean, that's literally that obvious. Yeah. Literally that obvious on, and when my wife can pick that out, ladies and gentlemen, when my wife can pick that out, there's something wrong with your football program. And so, yeah, it was ridiculous. And the minute I watched that, I was like, I'm just. And then today, to finally see the news break that Jason Garrett is gone, I probably heard 3 of my Giants friends singing Hallelujah, because wow. So that is the ugliest thing.
Yeah.
And we've said this. We think he's a good quarterback. We do think he's a good quarterback. I mean, I'm not saying he's gonna MVP or I don't know, win a Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll win a Super Bowl with him. But I don't want to see anybody ever fail and look. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Garrett was not the route.
Hopefully the Giants organization will learn that whatever Jason Garrett brings, that system, that philosophy that he brings, that system and philosophy is not going to work as long as Daniel Jones is behind center. So they have to recognize that. Daniel Jones is not Tom Brady making all the decisions, but if they want to win, and the Giants are a proud organization, great history, dedication, to winning and stuff. And when you bring oil and water together like that, you got to recognize that those two don't match. And if your franchise quarterback is Daniel Jones, you need to bring somebody in who's capable of doing, is capable of working with him.
I feel like this is not the last firing we're going to see before the end of the season of any. I got.
Yeah, definitely not.
I agree. There's some gut feelings that there's going to be some, but this is always and I hate. Not that I don't want to see anybody lose their job in the middle of a season anyway. So I'm not that happy that Garrett. I mean, I understand maybe at the end of the season getting rid of him, but it whatever works. And I know that teams do it. I'm just one of those. If I was an owner, or I probably wouldn't get rid of him. I mean, we're already not making the playoffs as a team, anyways.
Right.
But that's me. I'm probably a little bit nicer in that aspect, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have a different take. If I'm playing, we have $1 million treasures out there, and if I'm not putting them in the best position to win every week, to me, it's fraud, waste, and abuse. Unfortunately, there are teams out there where the ownership doesn't necessarily care, and I've put that label on the Lions ownership several times, and so you end up just getting a cardboard general manager. But I think if the general manager has that power, or the president of player and personnel has that kind of power, I say if they're not performing, and if it's clearly showing, like you definitely have seen, they got to go. That guy's got to go. We'll do better by interim coaching for the rest of the season, especially if we're out. Let's use the rest of the year to tinker with Daniel Jones. Let's see what he's capable of doing, and then go with that. And then say, oh, we'll bring this guy in. Maybe a Bruce Arians coaching tree, or from the previous coach, Mike Shanahan. That offensive style. Bill Walsh, bring somebody in from that coaching tree and see how Daniel Jones really does.
Yeah. I agree on that one 100%. Yeah. All right, let's get to our picks of the week. Early week. A lot of teams, like we said, 6 teams having a short week.
Yeah.
Short week to play. You went 6-4 this weekend. Fans went 7-3. They gained another game on you, so it's now a one-game lead. You're at 48-32. The fans are at 47-33. You and I, like I said, you and I had some rough. Probably the last 4 weeks we've had some rough picks. So, that being said,
are we overanalyzing this?
I think I know how one fan picks. They pick who would win in a fight in the real world. Whether if it's a bear and a lion, somebody picks would pick the Lions. Probably. No, I kid. I joke. So we do have Thanksgiving this week, as always. The Lions and the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving. The other game for Thanksgiving this week is the Bills and the Saints. So we'll start with the first early game, Bears versus Lions.
Yeah, I think the Lions get this win. I really do. That team is playing heartful, and they don't usually win on Thanksgiving, but this is the first opportunity for Coach Campbell to show the nation what his team really looks like, and I think they show up.
They played really good the last couple of weeks. Now, granted, they benched Goff like we talked about. I am too. I am going with the Lions as well, and the fans went with the Bears. But I am going with the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. I just like the moxie I've seen out of them the last couple of weeks, and I think they can build upon it.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked about it. The only way they can go is up. Literally, the only way they can go is up. So, Raiders versus the Cowboys. That's the mid-afternoon game.
Yeah, to me, the Cowboys are just going to wax them, and I feel really bad for the Raiders right now. Losing Henry Ruggs, that has proven to be really bad on that offense. And I imagine it's probably a combination of, just the air being taken out of them. That's a devastating loss. Number one, for the player, for the individual, what he now has to deal with and facing those consequences, and the team having to deal with everything else. But then on field, the matchup now completely changes. And then that Dallas defense, they just like I said, they played very well against, I consider, an above average Chiefs offense for the moment. But that defense is not going to let the Raiders come in and handle business. I think Cowboys win this easily.
Yeah, agree. Fans as well went with Cowboys, so we are on that one. And the late Thursday night game will be the Bills versus the Saints. Home game for the Saints.
Gosh. Yeah, it is. This Saints team is struggling. If I could give a Coach of the Year award now, I think I'd probably give it to Coach Payton just for keeping this team in the playoff hunt. But they just this is the first time in my life where I've seen injuries devastate a team, and yet they don't. The team itself says not a peep about injuries, but you can tell it's clearly showing. Yeah. And I'm gonna have to go with the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills. I
think just the Bills are a better football team.
I am going to take the Saints. I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to take the Saints. I'm going to go against the grain here and take the Saints. So probably Bills. Bills will probably win. No, I kid. All right, a good divisional matchup. This one's Sunday. This is a Sunday game. Good divisional matchup. This is a tight division right now. One of, if not the tightest, and that's the AFC North. You got the Steelers and the Bengals. Bengals have the Bengals.
Oh yeah,
handled them the last time. So.
Yeah, in my other pick'em league, I'm holding off on making it the pick in the other league because I don't know if Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt are going to come back, and those two injuries proved pretty bad for them against the Chargers last weekend, and I think that just created matchup problems. In Cincinnati, not as good on offense, but they can still create some matchup problems, especially if they get Joe Mixon involved. On both, in both running and passing. So this is such a tough game, but I think this is one of those things where I go down to the home team and I take Cincinnati.
I'm taking Cincinnati, and the fans took Cincinnati. Yeah, I just think and you nailed it spot on. I think that the Bengals are kind of like the Chargers in certain aspects, but to me, the Bengals have a better, I won't say a great, I like Joe Mixon, but they have something that the Chargers don't have, and that's a running game. And if they do get Joe Mixon, and just like you said, if they get him in the mix of the pass and the run, even with Watt right now, because if Watt is even back, is he 100%? That's the question.
Right.
And if he's not 100%,
yeah, Joe Burrow is I don't know, he's struggling with his reads or something, but he was going into this weekend, he was tied for the league in interceptions. And I don't know what the outcome is, going into this, but he's still top two at most. And he just hasn't looked solid down this recent, 3-4 game stretch, and I don't know why. And the Steelers, if they're healthy, they can provide a matchup problem.
And normally, and it literally boils down to right now what you just said. If that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is 100%, there's no way I take the Bengals.
Yeah.
I just don't, because and Big Ben. Ben is back as far as I know. So I am taking the Bengals just.
And the Steelers are always welcome.
Yeah. I'm just taking the Bengals because I think if Watt is, because if he's not 100% and I don't know how if you can get 100% like that. So yeah, I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah, as well. I know.
All right, Titans and Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots are looking quietly really good. Good Morning Football this morning, one of them was talking about how the Patriots are the ones to beat in the AFC, and I was like, I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet, but they are playing defense and offense are playing well with each other right now. And Tennessee, Coach Vrabel will have them prepared, but I definitely think the Patriots win this game and continue that streak.
Yeah, I do too. If Derrick Henry was there, there's no doubt in my mind that they could handle. We saw how the Patriots played against teams with really good running, and in fact, the teams that have had really good running against them, they've lost to. It's always been the team on their streak so far. There's not been good running games against the Patriots.
Yeah.
But
yeah, good point.
Though I do like. I mean, a lot of rookies in this offense right now. That for the Patriots that are looking. I mean, obviously Mac Jones, Ramondre Stevens.
Yeah.
So they're looking pretty good. And if that's a
Yep.
tale, if that's a tale what's to come for the Patriots, good on them. I might become a Patriots fan again now that Brady's not there. And I gotta kind of like Mac Jones a little bit. I gotta give him some credit. He's the best rookie quarterback out there right now in this season. So yeah, I think I'm going with the
Hands down.
I'm going with the Patriots as well.
He's playing like a veteran.
Yeah. The fans also went with the Patriots so far. We're all pretty much on the same page. All right, we got the Bradys versus the Colts.
Yeah, Tom Brady hasn't really looked to me. He hasn't looked Tom Brady-ish the past couple of weeks. I think even the Giants did a pretty decent job against him last night. And the Colts are coming in on a high, and this game is at home. And gosh, my instincts tell me to take the Buccaneers, but I can definitely see the Colts winning this game. And I guess I'm just going to go with the Buccaneers just because the matchup looks better. Yeah. So conventional wisdom.
I am going with the Colts. They did a number on the Bills.
That's not a bad choice.
And the Bills and the Bucs are kind of the same. If you want my own, I mean, obviously Brady is Brady, but the Bills and the Bucs are kind of the same team over the last couple of weeks. If you were to, you could slap on different emblems on those helmets and they would look the same, to me, anyways. I'm going with the Colts. I'm gonna take the home team on this one. Go with the Colts. All right, Chargers versus Broncos.
This one is in LA.
This one is in Denver.
Denver. I think I'm going to go with the Chargers. Don't hate me, family.
I am as well going with the Chargers. Fans went with the Chargers as well. Also with the Bucs, the fans went with you with the Buccaneers and the Bradys. All right, this is an interesting matchup. Rams versus Packers. It's in Green Bay. But we know there's a little history there with Stafford and the Packers. He knows them. He's got a better team to play with them.
Yeah.
But it is in Green Bay. What do you think on that one?
Yeah. Yeah, this game will be interesting because the Vikings may have provided the playbook on how to crack the nut on the Packers defense. And the Rams are coming in with every bit the weapons that the Vikings have, obviously. And so this is a game that the Packers could easily lose back-to-back for the first time in probably the Rodgers era, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But, weather, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It is in Lambeau Field. I still am taking the Packers in this game.
Every bit of my heart wants to take the Rams. Literally, every bit of my heart wants to take the Rams.
Me too.
I'm going to go with the Packers. You're right. It's rarely, if ever, have I ever seen. And I honestly can't recall when Aaron Rodgers has lost 2 games back to back. I can't. Just like you said, that's some research I'm going to have to find out. And he does not lose.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does not lose back to back. So I'm taking the Packers at home, Lambeau. We're both going with that one. All right, another divisional matchup. Browns and Ravens, Sunday Night Football. Browns are pretty good.
Yeah,
Browns are pretty good at late night football.
Yeah, they are. Now, do we know the status of Lamar Jackson?
I haven't heard anything yet. I've nothing. Usually that's one. But I mean,
Yeah.
because he was, if I'm not mistaken, that was game time. That was a game time choice, wasn't it? Right before game time, anyways.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything new on that.
And because here's the thing: if Lamar Jackson is playing, it's 100% in my mind. Ravens win. It's in Baltimore. It's under the lights. Lamar Jackson, to me, shows up in those big situations also. But you're right. The Browns on the other end, and the Browns have the game plan to beat them if they stick to it. You know, just run Chubb right down their throat.
They're not good with the run.
Ravens
they are not good with the run.
Is susceptible. So the Browns can definitely win this game, but you know, there's variables. So I think Lamar Jackson will be back, and I'm going to take the Ravens.
I am going with the fans and taking the Browns. Baker's going to come through for me on Sunday night. Baker's going to come through. I've seen enough hate on him. I want him to do good, and he does. Man, I mean, he's done under the lights, and I think he feels more comfortable there under the lights. So I'm going to give it to him. All right, and this is a tale of two different teams. One going, and the other one with a no-name quarterback. I don't want to say a no-name quarterback, but a quarterback that's starting to impress some people out there. And I'm talking about Seahawks at Washington football team. I think he is showing some signs of a decent quarterback. And do they even miss Fitzmagic? That's the question.
Yeah, you know that Heineke showed some toughness against a good Panthers defense, and while they were losing, and there was energy with Cam Newton being back, and and Heineke methodically moved that team down the field multiple times. And you're right, he's coming into his own, and the system, they've been making those adjustments all year, and they're finally starting to show it. And then on the other side, Seattle, that's just a nightmare. You hear the comments from Tyler Lockett and saying we don't even know what they're coming with, because when we watch the tape, it's not what these teams are saying and what these teams are putting on the field. And I'm like, so you're not preparing? There's a lot of there's high drama in that Seattle locker room right now, and that's a shame. I'm going to go with Washington. I really am.
I am. God. I'm going with Washington too. I'm going with Washington. Man, I hate.
You Cowboy fans, you gotta love it.
No. I really do. I watched a little bit of this kid, and just. You're right, man. You had a team that was riding on Cam Newton's that return and that feel, and here's McCaffrey back, and we're gonna run, and we're gonna do this, and man, he just looked good. He didn't fold under pressure. He stayed calm, and I mean, he looked even good. He looked good even against the Kansas City Chiefs not too long ago, and he's looked good in these games. And I gotta give him credit. We didn't know who the heck he was when he first came in, but he's making people. I'm seeing people online. I'm reading articles that heads are getting turned because of this kid, of what he's been able to do with a relatively. I want to say 100. Just a relatively not a strong team that we thought that the Washington team would be, but they're looking good. But yeah, you're right. And we've talked about this the last ever since we've been talking about Seattle, that nobody on the sideline looks comfortable. I mean, you've got Metcalf getting ejected from a game because of emotions, and I get it. And I'm not. I don't know if I even hold anything against DK Metcalf on that getting ejected. because you can just tell by that team that they're just emotionally not there at all. The coach, nobody.
Right.
And the sidelines just looks pathetic.
Yeah, they've lost. Coaches have lost the locker room for sure. Yeah.
Well, all right, that is our week picks. Short week, and we got a lot of football, and at least we got some good football this week. I'm excited about Thanksgiving, so hopefully hopefully our teams play good on Thanksgiving Day for us. Give us a nice Thanksgiving Day. But to you and yours, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Get some turkey and whatever it is, and ham and all that good food. Just don't eat dill pickle pie. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, go check the Facebook page later. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Nope.
And that's what I mean. This is why you're not invited. If you're watching out there, folks, if you make dill pickle pie, this is why you are not invited to Thanksgiving dinner. But no, this week, what are you looking for?
No, I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. What are you looking for this week overall?
Yeah, so there's three things that I want to see that I'm looking at, and you're a Baker fan. Maybe you can tell me, but there to me seems to be something going on with Baker Mayfield and the Browns. This time of year, we're starting to see the normal talks that you would have about contract extension. Well, then that's leading the pundits to say, is Baker the future? Is he worthy of a contract extension? Do the Browns really want him? And to me, that's kind of, I don't know if that's it or if there's other things going on in the locker room. But now Baker's wife comes out and calls out the rest of the team for lack of effort, And while I personally think she has a point, I mean, Baker's played with some tough injuries and is still out there trying to sling it. You and I have kind of gone back and forth whether that's, right or wrong, hero or zero. But to me, and what I've seen in my many years watching the league and following it, it is never good when the family gets involved. And it always means there's something else going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. So he blew off the media after this game. And the media wasn't happy with it. And when you blow off the media, they're going to come back at you. And so he's not going to have nice things said about him until he starts slinging arrows for touchdowns. And I don't know if the Browns will be able to do that this year with their dynamics. So I don't know what's going on in Cleveland, in Believe Land, but to me, that's the stars are not aligned for Baker right now. That's one thing I'm looking for.
Yep.
The second thing, how long does Coach Nagy last? I don't know if you saw the clip of the Bulls fans in Chicago at the arena at the Bulls game last night, but soundly everybody was fire Matt Nagy, and I was like, oh.
They had fire.
That when the other sport.
They had fire Matt Nagy at his son's football game. His high school football son, they had fire Nagy. So yeah, the Chicago is not.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
That's even worse. Matt Nagy was hired 3-4 years ago because he's an offensive-minded guy. He was hired to complement the defense that was performing so well during that time, and he's ruined both of them, in my opinion. Yeah. And it's a shame. I personally don't think he was the one that wanted Fields. I think that was probably forced on him. It's just my opinion. I don't really have any evidence, but it's just the sense that I get. But because of what you said, that's almost no man's land right there. He may not make it to the end of the season.
And you're right. If they lose to the Lions, there's no doubt that he's done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Florio. If they lose to the Lions, he doesn't make it to the end of the season. And then the other thing I'm looking for, we talked about the Chiefs. They kind of look poised to resume that first place, where they're comfortable in. But I want to see they have made the adjustments that they need to make. I want to see if the teams that they now play are going to recognize the pressure from the front end, and if they're going to figure out a way to exploit that and then stifle the Chiefs' resurgence. Those are the things that I'm looking for, good man.
All right, that's yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you, and on the Baker thing as well. What she comes out and says is no different than what OBJ's dad does, or any family member. And you're right. There's obviously something wrong. There's talk of drafting another quarterback. Is it because he's hurt? Is it because there's an issue? I wish I knew, and I wish I knew in that aspect. Obviously, there's not a lot being said other than just the normal media stuff. Well, because he didn't talk to us, now we're gonna, is it because he didn't talk to us, we're gonna start these rumors? I don't know. But like you said, 99% of the time, if certain things are being said, there's usually a little truth to it, and there's probably more behind the scenes that we don't know about. So, but yes, I mean, Baker likes to have a little controversy, and it's the cycle thing. We talk bad about Baker. He goes out, has a good game, shuts him up, bad game, starts all over again. That's the cycle. And that's been Baker here from Oklahoma, Texas Tech, you name it. That's the Baker wheel, if you will. So the problem is this I don't know if he recovers. If this is true, this is something, and maybe he wants out of there. Maybe, but again, for some of the games that I'm watching, and this goes to Cleveland Browns fans that talk to me all the time. You can't have, it's not, I mean, if they win 41-0, it's not Chubb winning the game for them. Baker's slinging some balls around, okay? I get it. You don't like Baker. A lot of people don't like Baker because a lot of the people that like the Cleveland Browns are Ohio State fans, and they still can't get over a planting of a flag in the middle of a field. I get it. But one thing that you need to remind about yourself, Cleveland, is this man has taken you to the playoffs and damn near took you to the Super Bowl. Whether you want to believe it or not, this man led that team. Here, and we talked about this earlier in the show. Going 15-2, 16-1, hell, even some teams going 14-3. That is a tough thing. Fan pages. Oh, the world is crumbling and the sky is falling and our team is done. No. Adjustments are made by teams, and good teams make adjustments, great teams make adjustments, and they're going to do that. Whether it's the Cowboys, whether it's the Packers, whether it's the Niners, whether it's the Saints, whether it's the Philadelphia Eagles, it doesn't matter. These teams are going to make adjustments to win games. That's what the coaches get paid to do. So don't get down on your team and think the sky is falling because they're 7-3 or 8-2 or whatever the case may be. They're going to lose some games. And that's what I get passionate about that. I'm just as much of a OU fan and Dallas Cowboy fan, and I hate when Dallas and OU loses a game. I do. I hate it. I'll go into mourning for 3 or 4 hours, and then I'm back to normal, okay? If it's OU, I go into mourning for about 6 days, and then I'm back to normal. But I kid. But don't get down on your teams, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with them. They make adjustments. That's what these coaches and these players are paid to do. Let them make the adjustments, and you'll be happier for it. And that's all I got for this week. So, again, appreciate you, brother. As always, enjoy your holiday. I will see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, to everybody else out there. Happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving from Chalk Talk. We will see you next Tuesday. Have a great night.